Today's show is sponsored by our friends at distilleryproducts.com. They have the best laser etch glassware out there at wholesale prices. If you're a distillery, you're probably already using them, but if you're not, reach out to me. If you're a store or bourbon group, you want to work with distilleryproducts.com, I would be happy to get you in touch with them. Reach out to me. I'll get you in touch with Carson, Janie, Vicky, and all the good folks over at distilleryproducts.com. And you can get the official Dad's Drinking Bourbon Glencairn or the Kenzie glass at their sister site, premiumbarproducts.com. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at Orca Coolers. It is fall officially this week, but it is dad season year round, because if you use code DADSEASON, that is DADSEASON, Orca Coolers will take 20% off your whole order. So that's tumblers, coolers, whatever it is you need. You want a gym bottle, you want a bottle to go hiking with, one of those barrel tumblers to have by the fire, or maybe you need a cooler. Go to orcacoolers.com, use code DADSEASON, get 20% off, and be the envy of dads everywhere. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at Action247.com, Tennessee's only sports book by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. And if you want to get in on the action, there are so many ways to do it. But first off, if it's your first time, use code DADS100 and they will match up to $400 of your first deposit. Football's going on, so there's a lot of action going on this weekend. There's giveaways. They're giving away tickets, goodies, all sorts of stuff on their social media channels. They are going to give away a contest to win a Nate Diaz glove this week. You got to follow at TN Action 247 on all platforms. That is at TN Action 247 on all the platforms. There's guest pickers, live events, and use code DADS100. Okay, Zeke, in lieu of a cold open, I'm just going to say we survived Kentucky Bourbon Festival 2021. We made it. We came through on the other side. We had an Airbnb house with some of our good friends. We made it through alive.
Hey, that's the best that could be expected.
But a huge thank you to everybody involved with the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, David Mandel, all the support staff he had around there. We were thankfully given media passes to the event and had a great time catching up with a whole lot of good friends. You know who y'all are. I couldn't even name all of you, but every single person I saw at Kentucky Bourbon Festival, even if it was just for a minute or it was longer, thank you. It was great seeing you. It was great spending some time with you. So in lieu of Zeke saying something goofy, we are just going to start this one off thanking the community.
Cheers.
Adding so much.
Less is more, Wally.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards, and with me, as always, is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us part of your day. And Zeke is triggering my memory because one of my favorite memories of KBF this year was when we decided, the whole thing, it was open from 10 to 10. If you went early in the morning, you kind of wanted to leave by early afternoon. You can't spend 12 hours there. So you kind of get tired and hot by the afternoon. So the second day we went, we decided to go kind of more late afternoon so we could spend the evening out there, and we spent the morning in the B&B just watching Major League, and that has to be one of the highlights of the trip for me.
I pulled my weight that day. I put the TV on Major League.
I know. Zeke did so much. He was just like, oh, Major League's on. Everybody's like, wait, what? Then one by one, everybody started sitting by the couch. And the best part about the whole thing is we were anticipating the lines. So everybody started shouting the lines out before they happened. I know this sounds lame to anybody listening on a podcast. It's like you had to be there, but it was freaking hilarious. You going to say anything back to me today?
I didn't think that warranted anything. It was more of a statement than like a question. I could have piled on, but you already surmised it in that, yeah, you kind of had to be there, and yeah, it was a blast. So I didn't want to make it seem more awkward. Damn, son.
I know, that was bad. I kind of wish I could have that one back. Zeke, what was your favorite part of KBF?
I'm really just hanging out, seeing folks, meeting them. True to form, I think you did a lot more media work than I did. I was lucky enough to spend a large amount of time with our buddy Nate that runs 5280 Whiskey Society. society, and seeing run into folks that we've met over the years. And I mean, legit, as corny or as cliche as it sounds, just have some time enjoying people and not being distracted by the rest of the world.
Nobody is shocked to hear you say, I think you did a little bit more media work than me.
Hey, man, you haven't signed my phone back up for the Instagram account. I can't even do stories right now.
Oh, I meant to do that when we were in person. Oops.
Yeah, oops.
Zeke locked himself out of Instagram, and it's the whole thing. Anyways, we are drinking 2021 birthday bourbon tonight. We told you that as we go through September, which is the month of bourbon, we are going to try to get more reviews out. We're going to try to get a few reviews out next week as well. They're going to be a little bit shorter because we know you just want to know what's going on with these new releases. Now, 2021 birthday bourbon is a 12-year-old whiskey. This is 104 proof, 12 years old. It was released on September 2nd, which is George Garvin Brown's birthday. It's released every year on his birthday. This is barrels that were laid down April 16th, 2009. Jackie helped to put this together. I mean, I think she was kind of the leader on putting this together, as she is the master taster at Old Forester. So long story short, not a lot to tell you about this, Zeke, besides 12 years old, 104 proof, and $130.
Is it always distilled on the same day or bottled on the same day? I can't remember.
It's always released on the same day, but they take the barrels from the same day normally. So the barrels were taken from April 16th, 2009.
Oh, for some reason, I always thought it was like stuff distilled on his birthday or something along those lines.
No, it's always released on his actual birthday. So it's always released on the 2nd.
Gotcha. But yeah, I think it's been very Brown-Forman-y, I guess, to say that most of their limited releases are either from, 1 or 2 days distilled at tops. If you think about, King of Kentucky, with now, I guess it's fourth year coming out? Fourth, I think.
I think fourth.
Because I was reading something about it a day or two ago, and it's only using 2 separate days to distill it as well. I mean, it's interesting how they seem to really hone in on a certain days distill it that's kind of sat in a certain area of a warehouse and just simply go with that as opposed to blending a little more.
But I would think that the profile would kind of be similar if they're taking all barrels kind of in the same area. And if you start grabbing stuff from different places, it's going to be it's more work in the blend, but it's also not going to get that kind of unique characteristic of the area in which it was grabbed.
Well, I mean, maybe not unique in like one side of the coin, but at the same time, this is a smaller release. It's not like they're doing some huge vat of small batch that they plan on going out to the masses. So you could still pull from 2 or 3 spots and, in a sense, I would think craft a unique profile that would also stand out on its own, while also possibly, cleaning up any rough spots one part of the distillate may have had or something.
Yeah, fair enough. I like it just because there's so many other releases that do grab from different places and then blend it together. It's kind of interesting and unique to kind of have one that is not. Anyways, what do you think about this whiskey, Zeke Baker?
I tasted it first and actually just got around to nosing it while we were BSing here for a minute. But at least initially, it is pretty astringent and then gives off a really good amount of char. I even put down that it was a sharp char, because I think between that and the astringency that's already coming off of it together, it pierced the nose a little bit, especially for a 104 proof product. I can't really recollect anything off the top of my head that had a proof that low, but I guess as they would say, it's coming in hot, look out. But I had to back up off it a little bit to nose it again and kind of let my nares recover. Palate wise, it really seemed to follow suit for me. I put down that there was a char that led into astringency. There are some underneath notes of sweetness in the mid part of the palate, but really had to work to find those, and subtle might be being a little generous. And, then on the back, it just looped back into that initial char on the finish that hung around pretty good. I tried to think of a way to describe it just because it is, in a way, very unique. The best I could come up with was possibly either a burnt marshmallow or burnt popcorn, but it's somewhere in there between corn and sugars and just that kind of, too much cooking has got a hold, or char, so to speak, from the barrel has got a hold of it. And that just dominates the profile for me.
I mean, we tasted the same thing. I know we did, but we didn't taste the same thing. That's normally par for the course, but the nose for me was like a fruit popsicle, like one of those all fruit with all the different types of berries in it. Like it has raspberry, strawberries, blueberry, all together with a little creme brulee. I can get a little bit of the char in there, but I'm not nosing the same thing as you. I mean, it did not burn my nares. There was nothing about it that was in that kind of area for me. The taste, it was a whole bunch of fruit, and then I got oak on the back. So the beginning of it wet my palate a lot, and then the tail end of it was a little bit oaky and dry on the very back of it. But I did not drink the same thing you did.
I want to see if that glass is clean.
The glass is clean, 100% clean.
I mean, I don't know. I came in this with no preconceptions, but I have talked to more than a handful of folks in the past week and a half. They didn't tell me what you just did.
Really?
Not a soul.
That's what I got. I enjoyed it. I would go buy this. I would not wait in line and camp out for days like this release had people doing. I mean, people literally camped out for days. And I just want to say, Jackie was nice enough to bring donuts to the people in line. And then people had the nerve to get at her because she just brought donut holes because that's all she could grab. I mean, she literally was going to try to grab something on the way. All they had was donut holes. So she grabbed those and was handing them out. Like, kudos to her to try to do something for the people in line, but that's pretty shitty to kind of crap on what she was trying to do.
Because it was a donut hole instead of a donut? Just nothing better than either.
Because it was a donut hole instead of a donut.
Oh, that's just dumb. Donut hole's going to obviously go to more people. We're worried about the health shit now. You can hand each one out. What are you supposed to do? Try to share a donut with two of your buddies you're in line with? At least with the donut hole, everybody gets one or two. And you can get the variety box. Way more options to satisfy way more people. Done and done.
I completely agree with you. And it's also like if somebody who works at a distillery is going to go out of their way to try to make people's experience better, and then you're going to shit on that, like, I don't know. Come on, we're better than that, y'all.
I will say, especially in your descriptors, I don't get oak. I get char, because to me there is a very specific difference. This is not an oak profile. This is char.
I agree with you that there is a different profile, but I'm telling you the back, what I got on the back end of my throat and on the finish was oak, not char.
It's got a lot of that bite to me, man. I mean, it even makes my mouth pucker up when it's a little hard to swallow at the end.
But that's par for the course for us, though. We are opposites.
I don't know. We might have to do a post-show analysis of the folks that have had it and see which side they're agreeing or leaning with more.
2 steps forward and 2 steps back. We come together because opposites attract.
Man, every time you sing, we lose people.
And you know.
Still going. I don't even know what that song is.
Paula Abdul and Scat Cat.
Yep, speechless.
This is a solid birthday bourbon for me. I don't think it still amazes me what these go for on secondary. It still amazes me that people are waiting in line for this kind of stuff now, but that is where we are in bourbon culture. I think if you're able to buy one of these retail, go ahead. I would probably go ahead and say pass on the secondary value of this. I just think there's other stuff once you get up into that price point that I would much rather go get. And that's a serious amount of coin that you're putting down if you're looking at the secondary value of this. And I mean, retail all day, go ahead and get it. You want to get it at a bar too and try it? See if you side with Zeke or myself, go ahead and do that, but wouldn't pay over retail.
What I wonder too, I know for the most part, they'd always kept that 12-year age statement, but they did break that, last year, 2 years ago, and do some 10s? Anyway, sometime recently they went away from it. I'm sure caught some criticism because obviously if people are gonna bitch about donuts, they'll bitch about an age statement. But either way, if you look at King of Kentucky, it's a 14-year product, but all those have come in above 130 proof to the best of my knowledge. And so if you're taking something that's at least somewhat decently aged, if not more than that, and you're going down from probably 130 to 104. That's a big drop, especially for something with that much time in a barrel. And to me, that was why it made sense. Why the char seemed so pungent to me was usually, especially the older a product is, the more the proof gets cut, the sweetness and the goodness seem to go away. And then really what you're left with, if you get to a low enough proof, is just going to be oak or char in this case. And that was kind of my Cliff Notes version of what I thought was going on here with this one.
But not every single one of their releases does that. And they always have proofed. I mean, the proof of Old Forester Birthday Bourbon has been 90 to 105.
Yeah, no. I know that. I guess I didn't complete the whole thought there, but my thought, it was where I was trying to get to was now that they've at least opened the box 1 year in this release, to not just being like, well, it's got to be a 12-year because that's what it's always been. If that wouldn't be a better idea, going down the road, being more open to using juice with a different age statement if the profile is in a better spot.
Yeah, because the age statements have been from 9 to 14 years on birthday bourbons.
Oh, okay. Must have been some of the older ones that got up that high.
Huh. Yeah. Where do you stand on this one at the end of the day? I have a feeling this is not your favorite. You differ from my point of view on this release.
None of us are just going to walk into a store and see this on a shelf. And so assuming a store owner is going to try to hook me up with a bottle, and we all know we can't get all the hookups, I'm not burning any favors to get this one. I'll say thanks, but can I keep my card in my pocket until maybe the next release or 2 releases down or something else that's allocated or whatnot? I don't want to use up that play on this one.
Fair enough. But I want to thank our friend Angie with Brown Foreman for getting us a sample of this. We know it's very hard for people to get some, so we each got an ounce. I want to say a big thank you to her. You can find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Please leave us an open and honest review, just like we leave open and honest reviews about the whiskey we drink. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Good old Music City, USA.
Cheers.
Ciao.